right, we are live with Lorenzo Hill. Got we got a few people in here. Um, we might not hit all the comments tonight. We're just gonna chit chat because I think Lorenzo, whether he knows it or not, has lit a flame under me and has inspired me just with our few-minute conversation off camera. Because I originally thought this was going to be a video to talk about his book, and we're talking about so many other worldly things that I'm like, you know, my mind is rolling now.
Mm.
So this is super exciting. Lorenzo, you want to introduce yourself?
Well, yep. My name is Lorenzo Hill. I'm based out of Decatur, Georgia. Um, I, I was born and raised in Starkville, Mississippi, a small town. If you ever heard of Mississippi State University, that's exactly where I'm from. Uh,
Cowbells.
yep. Go Dogs, Hail State. um, Uh, I first got into thank you so very much, Aaron, for inviting me on the show. I was posting my asked to post the book on some of your uh, your uh, your groups, and I asked first before I posted. You said go ahead, and it took off from there. And I thank you so very much for that. Um, I first got into Quail. I started learning about Quail in 2020. I was looking for something to do, get into homesteading, um, and to learn a little something where I can be, self sufficient. And I ended up uh, finding out about Quail through TikTok. And through TikTok, they would say, "Oh, this is an easy bird to raise," and if you want something that's quiet, it could be in your HOA and all this other stuff. And I found out that at times it can be difficult because they tend to jump on each other, and you can have a bloody cage if you don't manage them correctly. And moving from there, in 2021, I purchased my first enclosure from Hatching Time, and that was a blessing. I kept the quail in my garage, but during the summer it was just so hot, and so I had to, it was people would come by to bring the kids to see the quail and all that great stuff, but it just seemed like it wasn't just a good deal, for them. And so I decided to try something new. I purchased a grow tent, and I hooked up an inline system in the grow tent. Had the hose going out the window, and I put all the Hatching Time cages in there. I filled up, I created a little box where they can just poop down in the box, and that and went from there. And I found out that that was pretty difficult because I live on a tenth of an acre of 1.2 I'm sorry 0.12 acres. So I don't live on much, and I have two dogs. At the time I had two dogs, and having them to be able to be outside and play around and having all that stuff out there on a tenth of an acre, for me it wasn't enough room. And so I I had them upstairs in my upstairs room, and I wanted to off I needed some kind of way to get rid of the eggs, because you can only eat so many quail eggs. You can only eat so many.
Yeah.
And so I was introduced to a fellow by the name of Hank Reed of Let 'em Eat free meal programs, and I started volunteering with him. And I started seeing going to places where they had food insecurities. People were struggling, and they didn't have a grocery store near them, or they had financial issues where they couldn't have food, or where they couldn't purchase nutrient rich food. And what I started to find out after volunteering for different organizations that the hardest food for them to have is vegetables, fresh vegetables. As soon as you cut them off the vine, they start to experience a thing called nutrient decay. And so as that nutrient decay is happening, I mean, in 3 days in spinach, man, you lose about 90% of the vitamin C in that spinach, you know. And so you're losing all those nutrients, which if there was a decentralized farm where we're farming in the community with different people in different methods, be it in-ground hydroponics or vertical, what have you, uh, you could be able to supply food through your immediate local area. You know, if we get together and we do that type of stuff. And so I decided to start cooling water community farms. And as starting cooling water community farms, I began to find out that I can't just ask for money. I have to do something, offer a service or something. And so I decided to create to put everything down in Word and create a children's book. And so I created Benny Z and the Adventures of the and the Secret Benny Z Adventures and the Secret of the Quail. And that is going to go over a lot of things that I've learned my journey and raising quail and homesteading and learning about how I should move forward or how we should move forward and recognizing what's going on in our world today.
Yeah, and so the book, the listing shows the ages 8 to 14,
It
and
does.
I was like, well, I have a 9-year old, and he's gonna start reading it tomorrow, and I'm like, man, there's so many clues in here. Like, why they stopped it at 14? Maybe I have the mentality of a 14-year-old because I really got into it. I'm like, man, there's so much relation in there, and I'm sure you intentionally dropped clues and left little
Mm,
nuggets along the way. And I mean, I think it was a real interesting book, and I prefer books like that. I'm I guess because we're in 2025 and technology, I'm a victim of technology. I find myself a lot more with the audiobooks
mhm.
because it's just ease of use. Because I could go through my life, I could work in the quail barn, or I could be driving and listen to an audiobook. So it's been a while since I read a paperback, and I had to sit down and read it. And I mean, I had the last few days that I really didn't have much to do, so but be sick. And I was like, man, this is really nice. And then finding out what you're doing with the community gardening stuff, and that's something I'm real passionate about because I mean, I would love for everyone to have a couple chickens or quail. I
Mhm.
mean, that doesn't. I'm not a fan of chickens. We have chickens. I'm not a fan of them, but a couple chickens, couple quail, and a small garden.
Mm.
And if you're my neighbor and I'm growing tomatoes, you could grow bell peppers, and then we could
Absolutely.
just exchange. Like I don't have to grow everything. I could just grow one crop, and you could grow another crop, and we can have Verna across the street growing something else, and we just the barter system is it's so valuable, and I think over the years we've lost that.
Yeah.
People want to see that dollar bill at the end of the day, and I mean end of the day, the dollar bill is just a piece of paper
Piece of paper.
with
Mhm.
with someone's face on it. It brings no actual value
Mhm.
um, outside of the taxes and utilities and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
the dollar bill to me brings absolutely no value. You know, if you have potatoes and I have tomatoes. And you need
Mhm.
tomatoes, and I need potatoes. I don't care how much money you have. We could work out a deal. You know,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
it's like you put a dollar value on a crop, and all of a sudden now it's worth more than what it actually is. it's it's a need. We need the food,
Right.
so therefore it's going to be elevated, the value of it. But like even so, like for my quail eggs, I sell quail eggs. I sell it far more than the value because I'm recuperating my operating cost and
Mm,
and whatnot. But the actual cost for me to produce the quail egg is not that expensive.
mm-mm.
So when it comes to bartering, I'm gonna barter, you know, I'm gonna barter several dozen of quail eggs for, which I've done in the past, you know, several flats of quail eggs for a loaf of sourdough.
Mm,
It's
right.
if you compare dollars of what I would have potentially made on those quail eggs, it you would think that I lost money compared to what the person with a loaf of sourdough, but I think we both ended up even because the
Mm,
love and the time that was put into that loaf of sourdough, I collected a quail egg and put it in a carton. It,
right.
I mean, if you haven't made sourdough, it takes some love to,
Yes. It
yeah,
takes about a day or so to make, doesn't it?
yeah,
The
you
yeast
know,
has to rise and all that good stuff. To make what you have to make the mother or whatever,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So,
So I mean, that loaf of sourdough is just flour and water.
mm,
When you break it down to chemical properties, it's flour and water, a little
mm,
salt. So it's not
mm,
the value of the product is not that high, but to me, it's equal because of the time and the attention. And um, we don't. I think as a society, we don't really look at that value. We don't
right.
really look at that value of someone else's time, and it's and I say we, but I think there is a large silent majority in our community,
There he
like
is.
myself and you and everyone in this chat that feels the same way. Like, I mean, this is great, and I truly enjoy it. And I like seeing, I like seeing, especially a homesteader that's gonna write a book. You know, like, and then the cover, um, the cover is very grabbing. Like if I was in a bookstore and I seen that
Mm,
cover, I would want to know more about the book.
mm.
Absolutely would want to know more about the book, and I I,
Thank you.
I think it's amazing. I'm actually towards the end of the stream. I'm gonna pick someone and I'm gonna purchase a book, and we're gonna get it sent to them.
Thank you.
Um, and I'm recommending it out, and I just think it's a great book, and I hope you all the success because I know as a small business, I'm not an author by any means. So, but I'm gonna put it being equal to being a small business that it goes into more than the profit from the book goes to more than you taking a lavish vacation or you know I know where your heart's at. So I mean I know you know 90% of it is going to go to something else, and you're going to take just like a little portion of it for you.
Yes, the goal is the fund cooling water is the help fund cooling water community farms just to get them started and stuff, and to
Yeah.
get that going. Because I will be looking for volunteers to help these small farmers out here, man. The small gardeners to help supply, fresh vegetables to these food co-ops, free meal programs, and food banks. Um, we shouldn't be getting old food from grocery stores. I know
Mhm.
that's out there. I mean, it takes about, like I was telling you before, maybe like 3 to 4 weeks before it gets to you, and then by that time, man, it's experienced. It has started to decay very badly, and so now we end up with things like E. coli, Listeria. You got salmonella in the tomatoes and stuff because it's touching so many hands. Um, you go right down the street to Amy or Jim or Nathan, and you go and you get some fresh vegetables from them. Man, you know it who it came from. You
Yeah.
know, you know how much time they put into it. And we have strawberries, right? It's nothing like a fresh pick, soft. I mean, bursting in your mouth, biting into a strawberry, man. And that tangy strawberry taste
Yeah.
hits you, man. It's just so good.
Still warm, because we do grow some strawberries, but like this year we were really big on the blackberries,
Mhm.
and I don't think a single one has made it inside the house. But like that warm blackberry, I mean, it's so juicy. And like you bite
Yes.
into that blackberry, and it's just like that warm juice. Like if I got one from a store and it was warm, I would gag. But I mean,
Oh,
this thing is just like it's just amazing.
it's your body reacts differently to it, man. It hits your taste buds, and it's like a man. I don't know if euphoric would be the best word for it, but man, it is good stuff.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. Yeah.
I see my wife's in the chat asking if you need seed donations uh for
Yeah,
your thing. Okay. She
yeah,
she she
that'll be
collects a bunch of
fantastic.
seeds.
That'll be fantastic. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes,
Yeah, we
yes.
she does a ton of seed swaps.
Mhm,
So I mean, and then we save our own seeds. So
mhm.
I'll get with you after, and I'll get some seeds heading your way.
Good deal. Good deal. That's
Yeah,
fantastic. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
yeah, yeah,
I know you were talking about other people that are in the community, other homesteaders that are in the community that are doing things like what such as we're doing. I mentioned doing our when we first started, not first started, but before the chat, before the stream, that of a group called Farm Fresh 24/7. It's an app that you can download. It's a bartering app, and you can also uh, use money also. But these are bakers, makers, and growers, people within your community within a 50-mile radius. Man, you can barter with be it either work or be it either food or be either whatever you need, man. It's a fantastic app. Guy in Riverdale by the name of Lawrence Seal. Him and his family, man, they're phenomenal. He do classes and teach courses and stuff. I think not recently he did like a bread making class, I believe, and that was pretty cool to hear. But yeah, man, there are people out here that are looking to connect. He has the collectively sustainable movement, man. They're looking for people to connect with. They're looking to people to grow with. They're looking to people to learn with. They're looking for people to teach. You know,
mm,
I mean, we're all out here, man. That you and I, we see things. We see them, and we know they're coming. And so we're ants. We're
yeah,
ants, and we're just and we're trying to trying to trying to build for trying to protect our families and protect our communities and tell people about these things. And so hopefully uh, hopefully Benny Z will be able to share some things, because in that second book there's going to be some more nuggets. And I know I hit on I hit on uh, our mental health in here a little bit, and and how that kind of translate into the family aspect of it, and growing and being around your elders, that that generational wealth building. And generational wealth isn't just by uh, you uh, investing in the stocks, or having a 401k, or getting life insurance. Generational wealth is you teaching the next generation how to be how to be self-sustainable, and to understand the ups and downs of farming and life. I mean some of the I've my when I was going to school in Judson, Illinois, at Elgin, at I mean, I went in Elgin, Illinois, in Elgin, Illinois, at Judson University. I had a teacher, and he came from a farming community, and his background was IT. And so these people, man, they're out here. They're these they've come from the farming community, and now they see that IT has gotten so far. But now we see that our food is our next venture, where we need to do something more than just planting it in the ground, or just having in a central location, or just just having it in a way uh, where it's cut off the vines super early. We don't need to transport it when we got plenty enough land and space here. We got
Yeah.
in your local community. You got plenty enough land and space in your local community where you can grow, and you can get people out of the house, talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends. Do this what Lawrence is doing out there in Riverdale, collectively sustainable, getting a group of people together and growing together. That's the same thing I would like to do with Cooling Water Communities Farms. Get people growing together and service those communities that don't have the ability to get those fresh fruits and vegetables. And so, man, it's just it hits me in my heart so deeply that this is something that we need to do, because I've said this before, that food is the new gold, and
Yeah.
gold is hard to find. And
Yeah.
so, and food is going to be hard to come by, and it's going to be so valuable. And the thing you need is nutrient dense food. And we're losing our truck drivers. Transportation is getting tough. We got food rotting on the vine in certain areas and stuff. And we we as a community, man, we've done things like this before. In the war efforts, I think it was World War II, man. In the war effort, man, when we needed things done for our soldiers, man, we got into factories. We started building. We started creating products for our soldiers. Man, we tried to make them as comfortable as much as we possibly we could. And we tried to get them the we tried to get them what they needed out there on that battle on that front line as much as we could. Why can't we do that right now for us? You know, why can't we do that right now? We can do a Manhattan Project instead of it being a nuclear bomb. we
Yeah.
can we can do nuclear seeds. I don't know, but we can grow plants and we can grow plants and vegetables and fruits here, you know, and feed our people in our communities. We can do that. And man, it's we could do so much with what little we have.
And that's a fact. And we didn't really advertise much. So tickets went on sale May 1st, and um, myself with Gitro's Family Farm, Shane Seal, who's in here with him and his wife Hope with Seal's Family Farm. We have Sean and Kim. I'm gonna call her. Her name's Kimberly. I'm gonna call her Kim with Timber Ridge Quail Farm, and then Kelly and her husband Joey with Feather Connections Homestead. They're out of
Mm,
Utah. Are hosting a homesteading convention this August, end of August, August 30 and 31st. Steve's not here to keep me in line on my days, but I think it's 30 and 31st, last weekend of August, in Mount Hermon, Louisiana. And it's just homesteading education. To be a weekend full of um, gardening classes, tree growing, like fruit trees. Um, we're going to do butcher demonstrations, rotational grazing, um, dairy milking. I think we're going to do canning. We're going to cover all the homesteading topics, and we're definitely going to have to communicate about that. I would like to get you there, and um, I would like this to be a topic, because I mean I think it's something that we don't talk about enough.
mm, no.
Because like I'm working in my garden and you working in your garden, and most of the people here are working in their gardens, and I think there maybe needs to be some sort of more collaboration, because and even community helping. And I mean, I'm gonna say I'm guilty of some of that too, of not helping maybe as much as I could or should.
Mm,
And everyone here that gardens, I could guarantee you they grow more than they need,
mhm,
um, even with saving for a rainy day. Because I mean, I remember I stayed with my grandmother and grandfather a lot when I was a child. So, and they were both from the Great Depression. They grew up there. So like my grandmother, when like I remember as a child, when she would use a piece of aluminum foil, she would wash it. You know, when she would use a Ziploc bag, she would wash it and reuse it
Mm,
because those were like a hot commodity, and like she didn't have that. You
mm.
know, so like I mean, I watched this lady. She can make a meal for 100 people for very cheap,
Cheap. Hmm.
and I mean that's something that we need to maybe get back to. And I mean, I think, and we're all guilty of it to some degree with like the Amazon, like everything's fast. Like I could order Walmart deliver and have my groceries delivered here, and everyone's so used to just having everything so simple and so just add the tip of your finger. And I think we need to get away from that because it's also separating us as humans.
Mm.
Um, and I'll be the first one to tell you, I don't like people. I don't want to see anybody suffer though. You know, like I'm gonna help you out. I just want to go back in my bubble. Um, but I definitely, I mean, I'm really inspired by this.
Mm.
The like I originally said, I mean, this was supposed to be just a book review, and a little story about yourself, and you know and what made you decide to write this book. And I'm like, man, I'm about to start asking for your family tree because we might be related. You know, I'm like, man,
Right.
this. I'm like, man, you know, thinking that did my mom and dad ever go to Georgia? Like
Well, I'm actually from Mississippi, so
that's
as I said, yeah,
that's
started
that's
from
even
Mississippi.
that's even closer. So,
Yes,
um,
indeed.
you never know.
Never know.
Yeah, and also today is Lorenzo's birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah, tomorrow is Mother's Day and Verna's birthday.
Happy birthday, Verna.
Um, Verna is huge in the quail and homesteading community in general, not just quail. Um, she is she's like the mother to all of us youngsters.
Mm,
And she's also the channel moderator. She
mm,
is she's her own walking encyclopedia on a lot of homesteading knowledge.
mm,
So I do appreciate having Verna here
mm,
all the time. She keeps any kind of chat nonsense at bay, and she keeps me in line too from time to time.
mm. It's always good to have that person.
Yeah, yeah,
It's always good to have that person.
yeah.
So, what did you like about the book?
Um, it it kind of I'm gonna relate it to because I don't want to give away too much because there's gonna be a lot of people that's be getting that book and reading it. I'm gonna relate it to like a suspense movie. Like it always kept on the edge of your toes. Like you didn't know necessarily what was gonna happen or what to
Mhm.
expect on the next page.
Yeah.
And like I I'm almost almost sad that I didn't have an audiobook because like
That's coming.
I have a vivid imagination. So like I love audiobooks when I'm driving. I'll just zone out and like I could see it. It's like a movie.
Mm.
Um, but I had to actually read. and but I do appreciate that because I do like the getting back to books. I mean, look, we have homesteading books
Mm.
everywhere in this house. It's homesteading remedies and medicinal stuff and
Mhm.
how to butcher different animals. I mean, anything homesteading related. We just collect books like that, and we pass it on to our children. Hopefully, my
Mm.
oldest son was in here a minute ago. So I mean, I think for me that would be much more value to pass something like that down and those
Yeah.
skills down to my children than money.
That's
Like
generational wealth.
yeah, like sorry, Lucas, but I'd rather give you the tools to succeed than give you money. You can make your own money,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
which
Absolutely.
he has the tools to succeed. when he moved out, I was sad because I lost the best farmhand I ever had. I had I had I had to make him. Had to make my
Mm,
own farmhand. But he turned 18, spread his wings, and he's a functioning adult on his own.
good
You
deal.
know, now I have to lift heavy things with just me and Christina.
Get the muscles up.
Yeah, yeah. Now I'm getting old, so it's not as fun.
Hmm, hmm,
But this is really interesting, and this is I put the link for the Farm Fresh 24/7 in the chat. That's definitely something I need to do more research in because I'm not too far away from like the city of New Orleans. I'm like an hour and a half south
hmm,
of
hmm,
New Orleans.
hmm,
So I mean, and I'm sure there's people there in need, and that we could possibly help out, or in some sense. And I guess not knowing who or where to go to, but maybe something like that app could maybe open those doors to, because I live out. I mean, it's pretty much on the Gulf,
hmm.
so like the need is more
Yeah,
in the cities because of the smaller lots and the HOAs and
yeah. Yeah, I would try not to do it by myself, because there are always other organizations that actually have their feet on the ground, and they know all the little areas that need their help. If you can find an organization that's doing that type of stuff, that's reaching out to the community, somebody that you really trust, that that if I give you my vegetables, I don't need them sitting on the shelf. I need them to be out the door.
yeah,
I bring them to you. They need to go into people's belly, when I bring them to you, you know. And so if you can find a organization that's doing something like that, man, that would be awesome. Because doing we have gotten nowhere doing things alone.
no,
We need community. We need community today. And I know times are tough right now for some people, but we need community today, and we need community as in actively doing things, actively doing things in the community with food, because all the we know we can try to keep kids out of trouble, right? But if you put them in a garden where they can see their seeds grow, and they can see things come up, and they have a bounty, a bounty, which they can give to individuals and stuff, man, that could warm the most hardened heart, you know.
yeah,
And we watch the news all the time. We see these bad things going on, kids getting shot, and being out 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Why do I need to be out 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning when you have to get up at 6 or 7 to go and see about these animals, or to go and see, or to go outside and weed this garden before it gets hot outside, or pick these peas before it gets hot outside, you know, because you won't have time. You be too tired, and then plus that you having intentions on growing teaches an individual to be mindful, not only in growing, but mindful in their schoolwork, mindful in their jobs, mindful in the people that they meet. That that just food, the production of food brings so much to the community and to our world as we know it. Without, it's just saying, feed me, grow me,
yeah,
and and next thing you know, man, you are an asset to the community. You may even be a pillar to the community. You know, so uh, getting things like that and getting kids involved in things like that is fantastic.
And so like I'm sure you're familiar with because you started talking about like staying out of trouble with like Angola State Penitentiary. It's,
I've heard of it. That's in Louisiana, right?
it's in Louisiana, yes. And like they have their own prison garden, and
Mhm.
um, so most of the time it's I mean it's people that's in there for life, and but they grow their own vegetables on site, their own animals. They have a rodeo every year, and um, a lot of the people they make crafts like swings and wooden swings, wooden picnic tables, and different crafts, and they actually sell it for their rodeo, and everything's regulated on like the price that they could sell it, and they could use that money to give back to their families because they're
Right.
locked away.
Mhm.
And um, you could find some interviews if you look online from some guys that's been there a long time, and have really been truly rehabilitated, but they'll never see the free air.
Mhm.
And I think that way of life rehabilitated them.
Mhm.
And so I think what you're saying is like in these you get these kids, because if you never work if you work in a garden all day or on a farm all day, you're too tired to go run around at night. Like
Right.
like I don't want to go act the fool nowhere at night.
No.
I'm I'm dragging
You.
myself to take a shower and I'm going to sleep. Like I don't. Mm-mm.
Right.
And
Right.
and then it gives you a sense of meaning, like like your life is worth something because you you nurtured an animal to adulthood, you
Mhm.
planted a seed, and you weeded a garden and cared for a crop till you had fruit on the vine. And um for me that gives me a sense of accomplishment. Like one of my favorite things to do in the garden is pruning tomato plants.
Mm.
I
Mm.
absolutely love to prune a tomato plant. I love the smell of it. My fingers get all
Sticky.
dirty from it, sticky, and I absolutely love it. It's
Mm.
so relaxing. Even like after a hard day at work, I'll come home and I want to go and just like if it's a real stressful day, I just want to go prune tomato plants.
Mm.
And I just clip the leaves with my fingernails, and
Mm-hmm.
it's rewarding.
Yes,
It's
indeed.
I truly enjoy it.
If it's the thing, I want to say home ec, something, home ec horticulture, you know, bringing that back. I know we have things like these this machine learning. Uh, we use machine learning out here in these fields. These kids these kids, they have everything over at this high school.
Yeah,
If it's something that you want to do, man, they have it. But like getting our kids in the growing food, man. I think they'll see the mindfulness in it, because when you're when you're you're building robots really for somebody else. That's fine. You're building for somebody else to work for somebody else. But when you're putting your hands in that dirt, or when you're learning how to hydroponically grow food and you taste that food, it's a whole different story.
yeah,
Things change. Things change when if you put that Swiss chard at we have some Swiss chard plants out there that have been growing since last year and went through the whole winter, and they're still growing since last year. And then you put that Swiss chard in your mouth, and it tastes a whole lot different than what you can get in the store. It's over with. You're
yeah.
hooked. Your body feel it. You're not sluggish. You have energy. Uh, it's a whole different thing. It's a whole different
Yeah, absolutely. And like, I mean, there's a reason why things are grown in seasons.
thing.
It's a seasonal vegetable, but like, you're not supposed to. have fresh tomatoes year round. You know, like some of those vegetables you're just not supposed to have year round. So I mean, they've been modified, and you know, I'm not gonna put on an aluminum foil hat and talk to y'all, but
Mm,
you know, it's you know, things have been manipulated over the years. That's not
mm,
natural, and
mm.
you know, we need to get back to eating natural.
Right.
Um, it's just you shouldn't have if you're growing outside outdoors in the south,
Mm.
you shouldn't be growing lettuce in May. You know,
No.
it's
Mm,
it's not season.
mm-mm, mm-mm.
And you know what they did 100 years ago? They did not have lettuce in May in the south. Maybe some northern states could get away with it. I know we can't in the south. I mean, we're trying to survive, just us as people.
Right, right.
Yeah, yeah. I know you got the same heat as me in Atlanta.
Oh man, it's hot out here.
Yeah, yeah,
But not as hot as Mississippi. Oh my gosh, this is yeesh.
yeah. You got Mrs.
Last time I
in
went to last
in
time I
Miss.
went to Starkville about 2 weeks ago. Oh my god, I almost burned up out there. Where are the trees at? I'm in the forest out here.
Yeah, that's what's bad in northern Mississippi. You got a bunch of pine trees blocking the wind.
Gosh, and they're dying.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on out there. My mom took me to a little country store, and we drove about 30 minutes out, and I just start counting the trees that were just brown, that was just turning brown all the way up, and these were older trees turning brown. And what's going on with the trees out here? And I asked some of my classmates, and they said it's not a beetle or anything like that. It's something that's causing them to die off. I wish I knew what it was, but man, it's. I mean, it's not like I can do anything about it, but I'm just spreading the news that if you go out into the county area of Oktibbeha County, man, you're just seeing those pine trees are just dying away. It's horrible.
yeah. And I mean, you look at the whole thing with the planted trees, and I mean they're growing faster, and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
like these manicured lawns and stuff like that. I remember. You remember the smell of clover? Like you could walk outside and you can smell the clover, right? Now
yeah,
you don't smell the clover. You smell exhaust.
we still have clover here,
Well,
and I love clover honey. I have bees, so I love
mm,
clover honey. So like I'll
mm,
cut my lawn early on in the spring, and I'll let it grow for a while and
mm,
until the clovers stop growing, because
mm,
clover honey is nice.
mm,
And
mm.
my neighbors do the same because they get the honey, and they enjoy it as well. But yeah, those you know, yeah, Bermuda grass is not a
No,
it's just grass. Like it doesn't.
doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything. You might as well just put down some turf,
Yeah,
you know. But when you live in an HOA, that's what you have to have.
yeah,
But when we got this house in 2011, I wasn't even thinking about homesteading or anything like that. I started thinking about homesteading when I started to see um, um, it was bird flu coming around, and I was thinking, oh, what could I do, homesteading and stuff. And man, I got with the NPIP program through with the quail. Uh, I got my candling license and all that good stuff. The was it the CDC has a program called Defend the Flock Defender,
hmm
Defend the Flock. I think every small farmer should invest in reading in that program and learning about biosecurity, because the way we're going to save our food supply is through the small farmers, just like how they did with the bald eagle, the osprey, and the peregrine falcon. How the falconers because of the, I think it was the DDT, was it DDT, the defoliage.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, um, it was causing the eggs to break when they, the birds would sit on the eggs and they would, they would break, and you know then you won't have no, baby eagles, because they're breaking the egg just by their weight. So these falconers, they went in and they started, raising these birds for themselves, raise, falconers raise and they release, they capture and they release, and create that program, man. It brought the bald eagle, the osprey, and the peregrine falcon back. We can do it also with our birds here, with our food supply. We can do it also with our food supply. If we just we try to keep that, the bird flu or the HP, was it HPAI,
Yeah, yeah,
highly pathogenic avian influenza. We If we can keep that just contained and where it can die out, or so, we can do a whole lot. We can do a whole lot with our food supply and our food production. But we have to do that. We have to start doing it as small farmers and small growers with our food supply. Because I tell you, man, it's the hands in the distance. It's the hands in the distance that gets us sick. Too many hands in the pot, too many hands touching, too long or too far away to come. That stuff is getting us sick. It's not the food, it's the hands in the system. It's the how many people have to touch it. So
yeah.
it's just, uh, we got to do something. We can do
Yeah.
it. We can do it.
Absolutely. And so I'm a big fan of biosecurity. My whole flock is NPIP
Certified.
certified. I'm huge on biosecurity because those birds are, if I lost all my birds right now, I would be losing food, I would be losing money,
Hmm.
but I'd also be losing my passion because
Yeah.
my quail are a hobby for me, a very expensive hobby, but it's still a hobby.
Mm.
I don't golf, I don't fish.
Mm.
I like my quail.
Right.
Maybe it would be cheaper if I played golf or something, but I like quail.
Indeed.
Um, so I mean this is how I feed my family. So that's not something I'm willing to lose. And you know, so people like us, the homesteaders, the tinfoil hat wearers, and whatever you want to call us, um, we're not typically fans of the government.
Mm.
So when I talk to people about NPIP, and they're like, "Well, I don't want the government here at my house, and I don't want to know what I have," and I'm like, "Brother, they know what you have. If there's an outbreak in your area, they know what you have.
They're coming. They're
You
coming.
could you could be part of the solution or part of the problem, but they are coming. And look, like it or not, you could say I'm going to stand here and they're not going to step foot on my property. They will do all of the above. What
Yes.
NPIP does, it gives you the education and it gives you the protection. And if you do have an NPIP certified flock and an outbreak does happen, and they would have to put down your flock or isolate your flock, you will be financially compensated for it. That's the
Mm.
difference between. So I learned a lot through getting NPIP certified. I learned a lot through my testers, through asking questions, and it kind of gave me a little relief. And I'm like, because I don't know how it is in your area, but like my testers are absolutely amazing people, and like they answer the questions. Now, like my main tester, she's the hardest person to get a hold of on the telephone to schedule something. But
Mm.
once she is here, that's it. You have her full undivided attention, and she is very helpful, and she'll give her official and unofficial opinions, and
Mm.
just real down to earth. They're just people. And I was like, man, I felt really good about doing it. I was super nervous in the beginning because people are like, oh, they're gonna come and they're gonna put all your birds down and they're gonna, they're gonna take your birds from you. And I'm like, after that, I'm like, man, this is one of the easiest things. I lost sleep because of this. I'm like, these people are here to help me.
Yeah.
So now I truly enjoy it. I look forward to to them coming and because then you learn about anything new, and they're always willing to share information. And
Mm,
bird flu does scare me because I mean, like realistically, what bird flu would do, and especially like in a cage community setting like I have, if one bird got it, it wouldn't be long, and I would
mm,
lose every one of them, before I could do anything about it. But I could also limit their chances.
mm.
Um,
Not to mention the other animals that you have
yeah,
on the farm. It's it's a prophylactic. You know, it's 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 washing your body. It's making sure that your animals are getting their health checkup. You know, you love your animals. You love the people that are they're going to eat. They're going to eat from your animals. They're going to benefit from your animals. And so why not, take those steps to show that you further love what you're doing. You know, and I know here in Georgia, the Georgia Poultry Lab, I've been there twice, and they have a phenomenal setup in there, and those people there are so nice. They're beautiful people. When they come to your house, you just they give you a call, before they come, and they test your birds. You have to go through that long process, but 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 it's well worth it, because they're testing for salmonella also.
hmm
And I don't know, is it is a high castle disease or something like
yeah.
that? They test
Newcastle's.
for, hmm
Yeah.
they test for all that stuff, man. And you just know that if you were to read on what these diseases do to your animals, you would hurry up and get NPIP certified, because you don't want to. Number one, you don't want your family sick, and you don't want your animals sick, because that is a whole bunch of stress that you do not want to have on yourself. That's a whole
No.
bunch of stress that you do not want to have on yourself. So I say, take the initiative and go ahead and become NPIP certified. Start practicing the biosecurity steps. I think it's 15 of them, 15 biosecurity steps. Practice those steps, and those are and how to learn how to protect yourself, the people that you're going to serve, and your family. So
Because I mean, everyone remembers a few short years ago when we were in a global pandemic. I mean, a lot of those biosecurity steps is the same things. I mean, you don't. I watched a video on it, and it was they traced a bill. I don't remember if it was a dollar bill or $10 bill. They traced it and counted how many times it exchanged hands
mhm.
going through. So like how many people touched it and touched something else, and then like the contact tracing stuff. So I mean, just imagine like bird flu going like that, or
Mhm.
anything else. And I mean, you could feel whatever you want about the pandemic, and I'm sure how upset people on both sides of the fence of it. But I mean, it spread. It took lives. I mean, it disrupted everyone's life. It separated families. I mean, it
Yeah.
was a horrible situation for the entire country and the entire
Mm,
world.
yeah.
So it's all something we could do. We have to learn from the past, to make improvements on the future. We have to learn from the past, and I don't think that's something I ever want to see again. I
Mhm.
hope that I never have to live through it again, because there was a supply chain shortage for that. I mean, there was, a lot of these places were closed down, and you couldn't get everything you wanted, and it that really opened my eyes, and that kind of, because, of course, the stock market's crashing. I work in the oil field industry, so oil. I mean, they couldn't give oil away.
Mm.
I'm like, this is the perfect time to buy a house.
Mm.
You know, I might lose my job tomorrow. Let's buy a house. You know, so, but
No.
so that's exactly what I did.
Mm.
Um, because we needed to expand, and I figured, if the whole world shuts down and I lose my job, they can't
Mm.
come take my house from me. Who's going to take it?
Right.
The bankers are not getting paid because the world
Right.
shut down. So
Right.
nobody's going to come take it from me.
Right.
But I need this bigger. I can't just go take the house. But if
Mm.
so that's what we did, and it was a very scary time, and there was a lot of thought involved in it. And I'm like, we could survive on this piece of land.
Mm.
Now we've turned that surviving on this piece of land to having our entire neighborhood as close friends and family, except for that one guy, but we're not going to worry about him. There's always one guy.
Pray for
Yeah. Yeah.
him.
Or look, you from North Mississippi, bless his heart.
Yes, indeed. We'll still pray for him now.
Yeah.
Gotta pray for him. Gotta
Yeah.
pray for
Oh
him.
yeah. But
Yeah.
it's still, so that kind of is what drew me there. And um my wife and I have always been homesteaders, and it's kind of always been our passion. And when our older kids were younger, they would kind of complain about the that lifestyle. Now both of them are older, and now they are going back to those roots. Like, my
Mhm.
daughter has chickens, and she gardens, and she absolutely hated all that stuff when she had to do it when she was living with us. Now
Mhm.
she's an adult, and she has her own free will. She could
Mhm.
choose to do whatever she wants to do, and that's what she does.
That's good.
So it kind of it makes me happy, because she learned all that stuff, and she didn't like it while she was learning it, but now she has those skills, and she could live that life, and
Mm.
that's exciting.
Mm. Mm. Good deal.
It,
Good deal. Oh.
so we're gonna touch on the book right here. I don't know if she's still here or not. um Homestead Matters. We're gonna give Homestead Matters a book. I have her address and everything, so
Good.
I'll purchase it and send it out to her. And we're going to do we're gonna do Verna as well. Verna, it says 8 to 14, so you are gonna have to pretend to be a 14-year-old.
you a lot of adults have been calling me and telling me about the book. Uh, I, I wrote it for 8 to 14 year olds, but they're telling me it's like they remember being with their grandparents and hanging with their grandparents and doing things around the house with their grandparents. And so that brought me a lot of joy hearing that. But I want to know what I've done wrong. How can I improve? What's missing? Um, Everyone's just I've heard all good things, but
Yeah, it was a real good book, and I felt like that too, because um I'm not gonna dig too deep into my personal life and my history, but I kind of came from a broken home, and so I spent a lot of time with my grandparents.
mm,
Raised me for several years, and so, like, I related to that enjoyment of you know going there and going visit, and the exciting stories, because I mean, my grandmother, she was about as Cajun country as you could possibly get. Like, I remember, I was young. I remember that she wanted to cook a chicken on
mm,
Sunday, And Saturday afternoon, she sent me in that chicken coop to go wring a chicken's neck. And I had never done it before. And I was a child. She's like, just grab it and just wring its neck. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. And I did it wrong. And then she grabbed it and she put it down and we skinned it and she cleaned it up and cooked it. And I remember it being just delicious.
See, that is the intimacy that we're missing in today's world. Uh, you can ask kids where their food comes from. They can look at a chicken nugget and don't understand that the process that chicken had to go to become a nugget.
Yeah.
you know, uh, and to I believe that processing food, be it vegetables, fruit, or protein, as in meat, that needs to be uh, a school elective.
Yeah.
It needs to be in high school. In high school, or somewhat they where they know where their food comes from and how it gets from the farm to their plate. Then that way they have a better respect for what they're having. I don't think that if if you show your children where their food comes from and how much work it took to get to their plate, they will eat all their food. They would not play around because it's too
Yeah.
much work to get from here to there.
Now my 9-year-old son Lane, he um he butchers animals with me.
Mm,
He he butchers quail. Like when we have to butcher quail to pick up for our freezer,
mm,
he'll always make sure that he can butcher a couple himself. He comes inside and then he cooks it.
mm.
You
See,
know, so
see,
he knows where his food comes from, and like sometimes we'll be just working out in the garden, and he'll ask if he could butcher a couple quail to cook that day, fresh. And I'm like, go ahead, buddy. Like I'm not gonna
yeah,
tell him no. And he he has his own rabbits, and he wants to butcher a couple of them because he wants to butcher and cook his own rabbit.
mm.
And
See,
look,
that's the intimacy of the food. He's very in tune with his with the space around him. He knows he's learning. He knows what it takes, and what sacrifices this our food goes through to get to us, to feed us, to nourish us. That's
yeah,
fantastic.
and he spreads that on to other kids because they don't have it this year, but we usually go to QuailCon up in Miamisburg, Ohio, at My Shar Farms.
My sir, mhm.
Yeah,
Zach.
and yeah, and it's our favorite event, and like that is our annual vacation. And Lane's in there, and
Mhm,
he taught in the butcher workshop with me, and kind of it kind of relieved a lot of tension on a bunch of adults that were nervous about butchering a quail for the first time. When you
mhm,
see this little child butchering quail and explaining people how to butcher quail, and but then it got the other kids involved too because they saw this little tiny kid. So it kind of it inspired other people, and it made me feel good as a parent. Like, man, I'm doing something right. You know, if anything in this world, I'm doing something right. You know, because he is inspiring adults and children to get closer to your food.
Yes, yes, indeed, Aaron. It was. I'm gonna tell you, the first time I butchered a quail, man, I was just doing. It was a disaster. I was doing it wrong because
I
I
think
was listening.
everyone,
I was listening to somebody else that was saying like, just you got to just knock their head on the table or something like that to knock them out, and then snip their heads. I'm like, and I did that one time, man. The quail looked back at me like, man, what are you doing?
now I got a headache.
Yes, yes, that's not the way to do it. Get your good pair of scissors and
Yeah,
good pair of shears and go ahead and get that done and stuff and uh and uh and skinning and stuff and do what you got to do. But yeah, um, Yeah, man. Being intimate with your food, man, it's I can't say that enough. It's imperative. It is the most important thing that we can have right now in today's society, because we're so far away from understanding the process of what our food has to go through.
Yeah, we are as a complete society. We are, and I think I think maybe one way to eliminate that problem would be for the people like us to be louder. You know,
Mm,
we need to get out there, and then again, I'm victim of it. I'm gonna point my finger out at everyone, but I'm also gonna point it back at me because I'm a victim of it as well. Of man, those people don't want to hear what I have to say. Those people don't care what I have to say. They don't want to know. Man, I don't want to bother nobody. Oh, man, I like being in my comfort zone. But I think we need to get out of that. I
mm,
think we need to get out of that comfort zone. And look, if I talk to one person about it this week and that person talks to two people about it, and then the next week everyone talks to another person about it, it just spreads. And
right.
I think we could actually make something. We can make a difference. We could,
Mm,
we could help some people. And
right.
um, I mean, and look, if I kind of took the if you don't want to hear what I have to say, you don't have to listen. But I'm still
Right.
gonna say it.
Right.
Like I'm here to teach it, and I tell you, I get hundreds of messages a day, people asking questions, mostly about quail for me because I'm more of a garden worker, not a
Mm,
gardener. My wife is the gardener, but I mean, I'm answering questions. Like
mm,
I don't even know if the people ordered quail eggs from me or not, but I'm answering questions because I want people to succeed at raising
right.
quail, especially the people that it's their passion. Like I want to raise my own food. I want to raise my quail for meat and eggs, and I want to raise them with my kids. That's it. You just open the door, and here we are. We best friends now. And it's real fun,
Mm,
especially when the kids are involved because that you're teaching kids about it. You're getting kids inspired and involved.
absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why I put it. That's why I put the information that I'm learning I've learned into this book, because it could be a voice for me when I can't be a voice.
Yeah.
When I'm not there, when people are not, when I am not in the immediate area, or I'm not on a live stream with you, I can be able to share these things with individuals, forever. You, like what you said, you have the books on your shelf,
Hmm.
homesteading and gardening and all that good stuff. Maybe some of those people have passed on, but they're still talking to you. They're still talking
Yeah.
to you, and they're still teaching you. And so that was the best way that I could find out, how I can spread this message to our world today.
Yeah. Because your book, um, you know, your little children's book is gonna outlive all of us. It's
That's the plan.
yeah. That's I can't wait. You how many you have planned for your series?
So in my head, there are, and I have, four, because there's stages that he has to go through, and there's things that he has to do, and there's experience that he has to experience, the similar experiences that I experienced, through this journey in raising quail and homesteading and volunteering and learning about food insecurity, and learning about this hyper local food system, with collectively sustainable, label it as. Um, I'm just all this knowledge, all this data needs to be documented. And what not a best way to document it than in story? Because no stories can live on for generations. We all know about the little red hen, you know. So how long has that story? It's the same story told through generation through generation through generation through generation. you know. And so I would like to take what I know, the knowledge that I know, and put it in, in print. So, and soon that audio book will be available soon. So I'm going through auditions right now. So we'll see
Oh,
how that
so
works.
so you have to audition it. You have to pick out.
Yes. Yes. So I started the auditions uh 2 days ago, and I let my writing coach hear one of them, and she was and I chose a kind of like a middle-aged person, middle-aged man to read it, and then she was like, uh, wouldn't it be better if it was a kid reading it? and so I'm back to the drawing board. So we'll see what we can do, and find it. See if I can find a kid reading the story. But yeah, man, this whole thing, this writing thing, uh, this writing thing is new, man. It's like you you have to pull so much from everywhere because the continuity of it, from because it's everything takes place in the fall, and so and all and everything and everything that I talk about, what he smells, what he sees, what he hears, all that stuff has to be within that book in the fall, and hopefully I want to try to incorporate some type of in either pop, in either some pop news, or some current events in it in some kind of way, where it will kind of help the kids relate, because I know you read a couple of things in there where where the dad was like, what are you talking about? What are you saying? you know, and so and so I want to be able to put that in there. So hopefully some little high speed kid in there, I say, oh, that's not right, that's wrong, or this happened, or I did this, or something, that write me, tell me what's going on. I want to know, how I can be a better writer, and and how I can better tell the story, Benny's story, and giving them the information in a better way to where it's understandable and it's relatable.
Yeah, and so Verna Verna likes the cookbooks. Verna actually created a few cookbooks. Verna, when you get this book, there's a recipe in the back, and it I I don't know where you got the recipe from, but I'm sure it's going to be a good one.
Yes, the baker across the street. She even took pictures of it. I think I did. Did you ever get a chance to see the picture? I'll post it again.
Yeah,
She made the muffins, and every time I make them, everyone likes them. Every time I make them, so
yeah. So it's Verna also asked the painting in the background if you painted it or not.
oh no, this was a gift. This was a gift from my neighbors. They moved away about, I don't know, 10 years ago. Yeah, no, I take that back. Not 10 years ago. They moved away about 5 years ago, and they gifted us this painting. And we just recently painted this wall. I know you see it's this color. We had a leak in our house from a small little crack in the behind the wall. Man, it ruined all our hardwood floors.
Oh,
And yeah, man, it just ruined all our hardwood floors. And so we had to get new flooring. We had to get the walls painted. Man, it was something else. It was, if you ever have to do a home insurance and claim, or in some home renovations, just get ready. It is a headache. It is a
oh yeah.
headache.
I live in Hurricane Central. I'm all too familiar with homeowners insurance claims.
Oh my goodness, it is a headache. But it looks nice in here now. So yeah.
Yeah, I got a quail painting back here, and that's a cutting board. I'll never cut anything on. That
Mm-hmm.
one of my customers. That's another one, and then I just
Mm-hmm.
got my thank you cards back here from customers. And I have a habit of sending teachers free eggs to hatch in their classrooms, so they usually send me a card after, and I hang it up.
Mm.
That's
Yes,
it's a nice thing. I actually have two teachers with eggs right now hatching,
that's
or
fantastic.
or due to hatch next week, I believe.
Mm. That's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, yeah, it's some real fun. I like to get those pictures back from the teachers, and it's exciting.
Mm.
It's very rewarding to see that.
Mm. Mm. I do have a. I didn't mention to you this to you before, but I do have a second book that's I have to publish it. I haven't published it yet on Amazon, and it's a journal. It's a guided journal about conquering self doubts. It's for kids, and they each day they write what doubts they've had for the day, and they write how they conquered the doubt, what brought the doubt along, what feeling they had, and they do that for 7 days, and after that week they do a weekly check-in, and after that weekly check-in, after those 4 weekly check-ins, they do a monthly check-in, and so and that goes on for 90 days until they begin to be at a point to where they're able to write down and to be able to navigate their emotions and their feelings and going into in the things that may cause them to have doubt. So just to build a little courage within inside of them to continue on doing what they're doing, and to let them know they do have self-worth, and they can conquer anything they put their mind to.
Yeah, definitely let me know when that's available.
Indeed, I will.
And
I will.
Verna said in the comments, she said she thinks that book will help not only kids but adults as well.
Let me go and get the one second.
Um, Verna, I see a comment. How many of the teachers return to hatch quail? I make sure I ship them far away to where I don't get them back.
So here's the author's copy of it here, and so it's pretty. It's a pretty good. It goes through it. It gives you a little introduction, and it tells a little bit about. I know you can't really see it, but it gives a little introduction and goes through about how to use the book, and how to conquer your doubts, and it gives them a little area to write in, and what they can do for the next day, and tackling what they couldn't tackle that current day. I just I feel that this is something that's needed because a lot of we we allow our children to miss a lot of tools that they can have because we're so busy in the teaching them, get education, education, education. Yes, we need education. However, we need to be able to navigate our emotions when we're in those spaces, in those educational spaces, in those spaces of in those societies, in those social spaces. Also, we need to learn how to navigate our emotions in those social spaces. And so this teaches you um, how to navigate through those spaces.
That that is amazing. I can't wait for that one. I'm definitely gonna get a couple copies. I see Greg, my friend Gregory's said he's in want a couple copies as well.
Good
Um,
deal.
so that's an exciting one. And I think that one's gonna be a big hit too. Um, even though it doesn't have quail in there, but we're still gonna show it some love. We're still gonna like it because I think it's amazing, and I do thank you for coming on here today. We didn't know each other before, like you said. You reached out to me to get permission to post in some quail groups, and um, I mean, look, I think it's great that definitely had a lot of respect from the start by you asking, because you could just get people to just start posting things for sale, and
Posting.
then you gotta go, as a moderator, you gotta go look and make sure that this person's legit, and
Mhm.
there's a whole bunch of vetting that has to go on, and you just right at the beginning, and I'm like, man, this is anything about quail, and like I'm a little guy, so I like the helping out the other little guy, and um, I hope you sell a ton of books by doing this live stream, and I I
That's
definitely
the goal.
looking forward to the rest of the adventures, and I mean I think it's great. I'll never be a writer, but
Never say never. Never say never.
I started a blog, and then because I'm like, man, let me start this blog, and mostly about homesteading and quail farming and whatnot, because that's where my passion lies. Let me start this to relieve some of my stress.
Mm,
Then wrote about four of them, and then I got stressed out about writing them, so I stopped.
mm, mm, mm. You
That
always go back.
yeah, I could always go back. I didn't delete it.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely be in touch.
Yes.
I think we're meeting next Friday with the convention committee, and we definitely have to be in touch. I would like to get you there at the convention. Atlanta to Mount Hermon is not that far. We're talking about a 7 hour ride.
7 hours.
Yeah, about 7 hours.
Okay.
I drove 10 hours to north of Nashville to pick up some feeders for quail cages.
Well, 10 hours just for feeders.
Yeah, some
I
really
would.
good feeders.
There's no way you could have mailed those.
The shipping would have been too expensive,
Ah, understood. I
and
got you.
I just wanted to go on the ride.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I made several trips up there.
Well, maybe you get a chance to listen to the audio book once I get it. Once I get it, go through these auditions and get everything in the production.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like we last year went to QuailCon, which is in Miamisburg, Ohio, which is it's like a 14-hour drive. Last year
Mm,
we flew, and I hated it,
yeah.
because I mean, if you fly and you on somebody else's time,
Mm.
like if you're not there, the plane's leaving. I don't care who
Yes,
you are.
indeed.
So if I'm driving, I'm in control. If I want to stop, if this town looks nice, let's stop here. We can stop. I can't do that in the plane. You know,
That's me and my wife. We are when we travel, we are tourists.
yeah,
We are tourists. We are touring. It's
yeah,
so much to see here in America. We are tourists.
yeah. It That's a fact, and it like my wife usually sleeps in the passenger seat. Um, but then when I find something exciting, something worth staying awake for, then she'll wake up and we'll do it. But
Right.
she's
Especially like a little country store or something like that. Oh, I'm pulling over. I see
oh
something.
a little country store, like a little flea market or something.
Yes,
Oh, she'll jump out the truck to
I'm
stop at one
pulling
of them.
over.
Like that. We went on a few years ago. We went just it was like a 2 day trip to northeast Texas, a
Mhm.
little town called Atlanta, Texas.
Okay.
There's an Atlanta, Texas.
Okay.
It's about 5 miles from Louisiana, 5 miles from Arkansas, and 5 miles from Oklahoma. It's like right there in the corner.
Okay.
And there is a town just south of there called Jefferson, and Jefferson's probably several hundred years old.
Mhm.
And I mean, I'm talking about like brick streets, all old town. It's just nothing but like thrift stores, flea markets, and like old country stores. And nobody drives on the roads. Everybody's walking, and it just we spent an entire day there. We ate lunch, we
Um,
shopped, and that was our anniversary trip. You know,
mm,
and as two grown adults with no children, that's what we chose to do.
good.
You know?
Good.
Okay.
Enjoy life now while you got it.
Yeah. Now, In my past days, I have driven to Atlanta to buy my wife a dog.
Mm,
All the way to Atlanta, drive a dog to pick up a dog.
mm. To pick up a dog. What kind of dog did you guys get?
Chinese crested.
Oh, okay. The
Yeah,
little
those old.
hairless dogs with the
Oh
little
yeah.
little tuft of hair.
Whew. So
Yeah,
ugly. So ugly.
we have a Yorkie and a Boston Terrier.
Yeah.
Yeah, and our Yorkie passed away about a year and a half ago, I want to say, and he died at 15, and we have our Boston is turning 15 this year, and so he's okay. He's got like a little kidney disease going, and he's always at the door because he has to go outside, and we let him out because he's a good dog and he's lived this life where we got to let him out, man. This is like he's I love Buddy. That's my little man there. Yeah.
Yeah, we have 5 dogs.
Five dogs?
I have
Oh,
a chocolate lab
hmm.
outside. I have a obese Chihuahua that lives outside in the animal yard. She is the protector, but
I was like,
this thing eats all the broken quail eggs. She eats any quail that are injured, any quail that dies. That's her food, and I mean she eats them. She's healthy. You grab
mm.
hold of this dog, you think you got a pit bull. She's just a Chihuahua. Um, then I don't know what the other one is. She's just old. I think she's 10 or 11 years old. A little bitty old thing. Looks like
Mm.
just a ball of fur. Then I have 2 Great Danes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so we animal lovers here.
I see.
Yeah, I didn't want any dogs. Then I convinced them to let me get a Great Dane, and then here we are. You
Five
know,
dogs deep.
five dogs deep. Yeah, and it would
Indeed.
they're fun though. It's fun to watch their personalities, and
Mm.
the a dog is a good it's a good gauge if a person is trustworthy or not. A dog
Mm.
will let you know right away.
Mm.
You know
Indeed. Indeed.
that's a good thing. If my dogs don't like you, and we're gonna have to keep a little distance.
I hear you. Right. Oh, buddy over there just laying down, getting his naps in. But
Yeah,
yeah, man.
yeah. I guess we'll hop off of here,
Hmm.
and thank everyone for stopping in. We have Katie and Verna that's gonna get a copy of the book, and we'll see you guys next week.
It's been a blessing.
Yep.